Welcome to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting from the eyes of professional gamblers. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by ex-boogie, the kid, MG, Mark Goodwill. He's gone from the dark side to the side of light, the Little Birdie team. Welcome back, Mark.
Thanks, Nico. It's been a big week.
And Darcy Spinks, hey, out of COVID,
Hello.
lockdown, away from Byron, back into the hustle bustle of Melbourne.
Yes, I did.
How are you, Darcy?
Yeah, I'm good. I got caught up a little bit in Byron and Brisbane. Had to go into isolation, which was interesting, but we're back. I'm COVID free, and yeah.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I'm happy. It was beautiful in Byron, though. I don't regret it.
No, I can't blame you. The weather's just starting to turn. Although we've had a couple little hot spells in Melbourne. I think the Melbourne weather's been a little bit better than Sydney of late. It's been underwater, Sydney. So
Easter weekend was as good as you can get.
Yeah.
It was,
picture perfect.
yeah, it was very good.
I know. Got some tanning in. It was lovely.
Fantastic. And speaking of perfect, it was nearly a perfect week for you, MG. It was just absolutely fat. The first couple of games of football, you were there on the Brisbane Lions Collingwood game, and we piled in. It was my lock of the week. The Lions and the Pies, they jumped them early, and then you just turned into a mad fan after the game. It was like you won the premiership, you thought, being there.
Yeah, it was lucky there was no one filming us, actually. I went with a couple of Lions supporters and a couple who backed the Lions, so we were in the right section. It was crazy scenes at the end of the game. I haven't jumped around like that since I was a kid, so had a few people on the shoulders and would have thought it was a final though we were going on. And unfortunately, we looked around, all Collingwood supporters are staring at us, so just kind of made our way to the bar and a bit quite a celebration. But great kick after the siren. Not sure whether they deserved to win, but it was probably payback from the week before when they got robbed against Geelong. So it's very good.
Yeah, it was great, and it was great to see young Zach Bailey just go back and suck up all the pressure. It was like the Bont the week before, and I just love seeing forwards take the onus upon themselves just to go back and do the right thing, and it's just something that not enough forwards are doing. Once the ball gets inside 50 or on that arc, you just got to load the cannons. Most guys can kick 50 metres, and now you've got this man on the mark rule. You can sort of just walk around and make sure you can get to sort of 48 or 50 metres and have a shot. So it's fantastic, and a lot of players aren't playing on instinct, and that's why a guy called CJ for Hawthorn, Giath, he's absolutely airborne, and more players just need to take the game on. And those players that are playing naturally and instinctively are really standing out at the moment. There's a host of players. The bloke from Melbourne goes okay. The young forward that's akin to Cyril Rioli.
Yeah,
he's another one.
Yeah. There's good highlights this weekend, wasn't there? There was a lot of great individual highlights. Some bags being kicked. Goal after the siren. Close game that we watched in the office on Monday. Got to experience the highlights with Brisbane on the Thursday night and the lowlights of sitting with Hawthorn supporters on the Monday. So they ran them close, and unfortunately maybe there was a decision or two that just swayed that result of the game, unfortunately.
It was an interesting one. I didn't think the umpiring was that bad in the Hawthorn-Geelong game. It was an absolute robbery for Brisbane Lions against the Cats the week before. But yeah, we might cover it in the Sting a little bit later on, because I thought the umpiring across the games was pretty good this week compared to what it's been. And I think with umpires, they should be sort of seen and not heard. But Razor Ray just had to involve himself into the Hawthorn-Geelong game late. He just can't help himself, can he, Ray?
No. Well, maybe they can just unmic him. Then they're not heard during the game. That would be one way. But yeah, Razor Ray, he gets a bit excited in the games. He likes to be involved, and he certainly doesn't muck around blowing the whistle and telling the players like they're little kids, I think, at times, which is not a good look for the game, in my opinion.
Adelaide, you were all over them to beat the Gold Coast. There was a few people that took positives out of the shellacking that they copped to the Swans the week before, but you found the gold there, and the market definitely moved that way, and one of your AFL Stings has already started to shift seismically. And West Coast Eagles was another clever one from you against Port Adelaide. Rarely you get to see West Coast at such big odds. It was a tricky game to bet into, but you're sort of proven right. The Port Adelaide form hasn't been too steady. It's looked good because they've had bad sides, but West Coast, you've been on West Coast and Western Bulldogs from the get-go, and listeners of the show would be filling up on both sides at the moment.
Yeah, we decided to give that out in the show last week and just explain that, obviously West Coast got a great home ground advantage. Port had two soft games coming in, and it just kind of played out that way. I think they belted off the park, actually, Port. West Coast got out of the blocks early and just dominated the game. they just shouldn't start outsiders at home, even to Richmond and the like. They're just too good, and the market didn't really move great. They only just started favourites, but when we did the show last week, Port had started favourites, and I just thought that was just the wrong side. So didn't think they'd win by as much as they did, but the West Coast 1-39 at 250 was a nice little pickup.
And Darcy's Tigers, they might be lacking a little bit of your support. Darcy, might have to get the scarf on and start heading down to the G the next opportunity you get. Barrack for the Tigers.
I was watching that game. That was a bit disappointing, actually. Hopefully they come back. Who were they playing again?
Swans.
I was watching it, but I can't remember.
Did you turn off a quarter time?
I would.
Probably, yeah. Actually, I lost interest about half time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was disappointing.
Yeah,
Hopefully
the Swans
they
were.
come back.
The Swans are 3-0 now. Got a big chance to go 4-0 this week. They play Essendon on Thursday night at home. Probably with Buddy Franklin back as well. So they're trucking unbelievably at the moment. Whether their young kids can hold up over the whole season is yet to be seen. But they changed their game style and took a big scalp in Richmond on the weekend. So we'll see if they can back it up against Essendon at home this week.
Needs to be seen to believe the improvement from the Swans. And something else is our man, Big Texan. You keep tipping him for most goals each week, and he's just come out with another bag. Is there a more improved player in the competition than Tex Walker at the moment?
I'm not sure you can be. Can you keep
a veteran?
Can you keep improving when you're
Benjamin Button?
30? Yeah, it's crazy. It's
How old is he?
Oh, he's north of 30.
He would be, yeah.
Yeah, only just. Don't want to age him too much. He's a professional athlete. But for a team that was definitely tipped to be, by myself, I thought they'd be running for the wooden spoon at the start of the year. The game just shows a little tinkering with the game, brings back a lot of the big forwards, and we saw it again over the weekend with Bruce kicking 10, Harry Mackay of Carlton kicks 7. Tex continues to kick 5 or 6 each week. So it's good for football. I think, it's going back to a bit of the 80s and 90s where one-on-one contests, and it's good to see the big forwards having a big say in the games because they're not extinct in the game, but they're definitely been brought back in the first 3 weeks, so it's good to see.
Okay, the last pump up that I'll give you was the Western Bulldogs. You absolutely aced that. The line moved heavily against North Melbourne. They are in dire straits, but you sort of suggested there'll be big bags of goals there, and you sort of half tipped out the $3 plus for 60 points, and it was an absolute shellacking. So it was a fill-up very early, and it was a nice way to finish off the rest of the AFL round. But the sting in the tail this week, it's a little bit different. We've had a couple in the crosshairs or in the sting, but something we came across on Monday was this arc, the review, and it was a real timely goal that was awarded to Geelong, and it brought up a couple of pain points, Mark.
Yeah, I just think, we were watching it, and it was obviously, not a crucial time necessarily in the game, but, 9 minutes to go in the last quarter, and Geelong Hawthorn were coming at Geelong, and Geelong had decided they'd had a big lead and were just going to camp down on it. What looked like a goal, I know the umpire called touch, and he's allowed to go on the negative side, whether he thought it was touched or not, but the goal reviews that the public saw, and I haven't seen anything since, definitely doesn't show the ball being touched. So I just think maybe it's got to be not weighted so much to the goal umpire, and the people in the arc have got to be given more leeway that, it should be for the positive of the game instead of the negative maybe. If that was paid to Hawthorn, then all of a sudden the scores are equal. And unfortunately, from a result of that kick out, Geelong went coast to coast and kicked the goal, and that kind of, put a two-goal gap or 11-point change, and the final result's 5 points. So, if you look at it deep into the game, in theory, it could have cost Hawthorn the game. So from that point, it's a bit disappointing because, as you said, I thought the umpires overall had a pretty good week, and they were having a good game until that, and it just leaves a bad taste in the mouth again. For supporters, and instead of walking away again as a good game for both supporters, they kind of walk away, and Hawthorn had just a bit of sour taste in the mouth that maybe that result could have changed the outcome of the game.
And what about the thickness of the padding in the post? It was something that you noticed as well. You were looking very, very closely, and obviously the whole ball has to be over the line, but the thickness of the post all of a sudden is something that is a grey area.
Well, the commentator brought that up in the coverage. I thought it was, the rule reads that it's got to be, the whole ball's got to be over the line.
Does it include the thick padding of the goalpost? I'm not sure. The goalpost, I don't know.
Well, the commentators in the coverage definitely thought that was true. So, might have to get some clarity on that because the posts add an extra half a foot of thickness, at least. I think some of the paddings around the posts, which are 100% there for safety reasons. But if the whole ball's got to be over the post, then all of a sudden it has to run pretty deep over the line to get there. So I think maybe that was an error in the commentary. I'm not sure, or maybe we're reading it wrong. But I think it's just got to be over the line, not the post. So that was an interesting call on one of those close marks. It was Stewart from Geelong, wasn't it? That made that mark. So yeah, it was interesting.
For those that didn't see it, aka me, was it, talk me through it, like was it above the post or something? Like what was the...
No, just in the slow-mo, so you've obviously got the padding of the post that goes up, 8-10 feet, I guess.
Yeah.
So the highest point, I guess, where they're going to mark the ball, and obviously from the goal cam you can see the ball tracking across the what would be the line. But then the padding sits back another, we'll call it 2 to 4 inches kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
So if the ball's got to be past the padding and not just the line, which we can't really see from where the cameras are set up, then I don't know if that's an old meaning of the rule or not.
And the technology just hasn't improved. It's just not up to scratch in the arc. Like for the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years, it feels like they've made 1 or 2 camera improvements. But given the technology, given the investment in the game, given what's the stake and what's on the line in the games, there just needs to be a better way. Like we filmed this show using about 5 different cameras. And if we can have 5 different cameras for our tiny little podcast here, surely they can fix it on the major grounds, especially the MCG. There's just no excuse, but it just seems well underdone, the ARC rule. And speaking of underdone, there's a couple of teams that are going around underdone, and we're going to put a couple under the microscope here. We've got GWS yet to win a game. We've got North Melbourne, St Kilda and Fremantle. There is not much going on there. There's not much passion. There's not much thought. Collingwood had a little bit of a brain fade again on Friday night. It's been well documented, the Daniel Rich not picking up. There's a lot of players just going through the motions, but particularly at GWS, North Melbourne, Fremantle and St Kilda. Who do you think's the most unimpressive at the moment, and who's lacking the effort and who's lacking the cattle in your mind? So can be a little bit of a let-off.
Yeah, I'm not... There's a lot of them. That's why we listed them at the moment. I think there's a few teams that haven't started well this year. I know the Giants have got some injuries, obviously, but they wouldn't have imagined they would be 0-3, going into the start of the year. So, and just their effort, I think, has been insipid at times. They're lacking leadership now. They've lost their captain. Just not sure all well's in Giant land. I'm not sure where to go with the Kangaroos. I don't think it's everyone's beaten up on them. Fair reason. Their first 3 games have been very ordinary. They've lost by over 50 points. That's why we tipped the Bulldogs last week really big. We didn't think they'd go win by over 100. There's not too many teams that lose by 128 points in the AFL anymore. Yep. So I don't know where some of these sides do go. St Kilda's another one. If you watch the replay of St Kilda's game and even the week before, something's not right at St Kilda either. I know they got some injuries, but for a side that improved so much last year, I'm not sure whether they went into this year thinking that they would just run through and make finals and then have a crack at it or something, but there's just no effort. There's no team ethos in their defence. No two-way running's been well highlighted through the media. So, I think a lot of sides have got some real issues at the moment. So we'll see how round 4, they've all got winnable games, Nico, so we'll see this time next week to see if any of them can actually get on the board and show some improvement and maybe show their fans, their club, their jumper, and play for more than maybe they're just match payments.
It was good to see on the couch some negative talk or some criticism from Rewalt and a couple of these players actually having a crack at St Kilda and calling these clubs out. I haven't seen anything on 360 or on the couch or the first crack talking about the goal umpiring decision from the ARC that we were speaking about before, but the Everything is Awesome crew at Fox Footy, they just never will report anything negative. So it's good that we can sort of hold them to account on this show. But another thing about these 4 clubs, for 12 years now, the Gold Coast Suns have been in the mix. So we've had this expansion thing going on, and I'm saying that the sides at the bottom at the moment and the golf that's in the game, the GWS Giants, they made the grand final, terrific effort, but they're the only team that have got within a bull's roar of getting close to a grand final, and they're insipid in it. So GWS and Gold Coast Suns are the expansion teams, and then St Kilda and North Melbourne are going awfully. Yeah. Now, the NRL is talking about another team in Brisbane. And I'm saying with the expansion in the AFL competition at the moment, it's 12 years since the Gold Coast Suns entered the competition. I think it's been a complete failure. Tasmania wants a team, but I think the lesson that the AFL needs to learn here was the way they treated the Fitzroy and Brisbane merger. They pushed the Lions from Victoria up to Brisbane, and I'd say that's worked. You cannot start from scratch a pop-up side and think it's going to work. We're 12 years on, and these two expansion teams have diluted the talent. In the NFL, you've got 32 teams for 320, 30 million, and the game is elite, and every game is pretty elite. The contests go down to the wire. It's an unbelievable product. It's a shorter season, but it is premium content. The AFL have got 18 teams for 25 million. It'll be an absolute error if they open up another Hobart team or they let the cellar dwellers like St Kilda and North Melbourne keep propping them up. I think that there's a couple of big errors, and to fix it, you could push, I don't know, this is not going to be popular, you could push North Melbourne to the Gold Coast and you could push the Saints to GWS and merge the clubs. And I think the competition would be much better for it.
Jeez.
That's interesting.
Not sure that, yeah.
Well, have a look at everyone's up in arms at the moment in NRL saying how lopsided the competition is, and Peter V'landys and the talk at the NRL is to expand. So more people are going to watch it if it's a better standard. So push the team, less teams, better contests. We just don't have the population or sample size. Like in Tasmania, I think they've got 250,000 people. They haven't got the population to support a team. They need an existing fan base to be pushed into that.
I don't know why the Australian sport overall keeps trying the Gold Coast market. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and I don't believe there's a team. NRL tried it. The basketball. Everyone. The Gold Coast just doesn't work. For some reason, it's an attractive market on the outside to go into, but they can't. They don't have the population either, and they don't probably have the lifestyle that supports a pro
people
club.
People go up there to watch footy, attend it.
Yeah, people from Victoria go up when their team plays. They supply the crowd. And I'm not sure that many players are attracted to the Gold Coast as well. Their retention rate's not high. I don't know where the club goes either, but does it get to a point where the AFL have invested so much money into it that now they can't renege on it? But they can't merge sides at the moment because it's written into TV pay deals and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, either creating new sides, merging sides, moving sides. It's not an easy process. And, there's only certain windows that they can do it. Whether Tasmania can or can't, again, it's a small market. I get the attraction for it, but it's probably got similar ramifications to going to, say, Darwin. Darwin maybe could support a team. They don't have the population either, but at least, they're a bit AFL mad, whereas the Gold Coast isn't.
I'd tend to agree. Anyway, we'll push on with the rest of today's show. That was Sting in the Tail, so we've got that off our chest. But we've got the AFL Round 3 review, and then we've got Round 4 preview. Mark is on fire at the moment, and so is our man, Top Rope Tedeschi. He's back for the Hall of Fame, and Round 5 action on NRL. And then we've got the AFL and NRL charity. It's Lock of the Week. The boys have been doing circles, and I think it's time for me to join Lock of the Week. I tipped the Brisbane Lions last week. They absolutely fell in, but I think they were a good thing. I backed them in the run. I couldn't get on. I had to ring up to place the bet. It's another bee in my bonnet. There's you just can't bet online in play, and that's something we might talk about next week. But if you're having a bet this week, Darcy,
topsport.com.au, family owned and run for 30 years. Bet with a bookmaker you can trust, and please gamble responsibly.
Up next, we're going to talk AFL with Mark. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by MG, the kid. He's deflected from the dark side to the side of light, Little Birdie, and Darcy Spinks. She's out of COVID lockdown. She's been sunning herself up in Byron, and oh my God, I am jealous. I can't wait to go on holiday myself. Now, let's look at AFL Round 3 action. Collingwood and Brisbane. Epic finish after the siren goal from Zach Bailey. It was an amazing betting game. I think it was like 2.5 to 7.5. I can't believe the market went against us, MG.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. The one upside of the market going against us is we got to reload at the +7. We couldn't believe our luck. We thought at the start of the week getting at the +2.5 Brisbane, and then it just drifted out. We had our prices built in that McInerney wasn't going to play, so I'm not sure if that was the shift to why. But anyway, good for us. We get to double dip, and the +7 was we didn't even need the kick after the siren for the +7, so that was good. good win by Brisbane, and I think Collingwood are a middle of the road side that we thought.
Yeah, and I think there's some good angles at the moment with in-play betting. So I know it's frustrating you can't do it online, but have the phone ready to ring up, because I think 2 or 3 goals at the moment in the game isn't a big margin. So you can actually get the bookmakers for odds. I think Hawthorn were a big price. I didn't back them in run because I was too heavily committed at the plus. But again, there was a massive price about Brisbane Lions. So if you want to trade AFL, make sure you're looking at the in-play markets. One game that you couldn't go in-play was Kangas and Western Bulldogs, unless you were hammering and doubling down on the minus. Anything to talk about there?
Nah, result 128-point win. You won't see too many of those this year, although if North don't pick up their games, you might see enough. But line was over early in the third quarter. Easy watch.
Adelaide, we've already spoken about that. The line was 7.5. They jumped favourite and they got the job done. When the whips were cracking, they really dug deep. And there's a little bit of a question mark over Gold Coast Suns at the moment for mine.
Yeah, happy to pose Gold Coast for the moment going forward. I think they've copped some more injuries as well. Haven't got great depth. Adelaide weren't great, but they're not expected to make finals either. So just got the job done and the market went our way.
And Richmond and Sydney, the market got this one horribly wrong, 21.5 to 30. And the Swans caused the big boil over, so plenty of multis killed there. Probably saved the bookies, because there was a lot of pain for the bookmakers all weekend. But Richmond would have saved the day for sure. Yeah,
you got 2 results in a row here, Nico. The Richmond was smashed off the park. 21 to 30 is a big move. For a side that was obviously 2-0 at the time. Sydney are airborne, big win for the bookies, and they got the result after with Essendon doing the job on St Kilda. So it did save their week, and Essendon going forward against Sydney this week, so that form ties in. We'll see how they go.
And St Kilda have got a horror draw. They got West Coast, Richmond, and Port Adelaide the next 3 weeks. Are they gone, Saints?
They're in trouble. At this stage, they're probably doubtful to win 0-3. I would have thought it's a big test at West Coast at home this week. I can't see them winning, but if they don't get over West Coast this week, they're in real trouble.
It's a real tricky one there. Carlton looked to be back. Cripps is back. He was up and about.
You're only up and about on Carlton because you've already backed him this week against the Gold Coast. An ordinary match again. Not a high rating match, Carlton and Freo. Didn't enjoy watching the replay too much. And I think Freo are in trouble as well. Carlton just got the job done, but I think they're borderline 8 team as well. I wouldn't get too over the top on the Blues at this stage either.
Hawthorn tackle Fremantle this week, so there's a glimmer of hope there for me. Another game that I thought was unwatchable was GWS versus Melbourne. I think Melbourne, despite being 3-0, they've played in 3 of the most ugly games I've ever seen. It was good to see them put the hammer down in the last quarter. That was a positive sign, but it's very unattractive football.
Yeah, it's turnover city, wasn't it? Very frustrating to watch. Glad I wasn't participating in the betting in this game. Giants are in all sorts of trouble. They've got 3 tough games coming up, and I think they're a bit like St Kilda tracking at the moment. They could be in real trouble by the end of round 6. With Melbourne, I think they're a bit like Carlton, I think, with the same kind of rating. I think they're borderline 8 for me. I wouldn't get too carried away. I know they're 3-0. They've got a good test against Geelong this week, so we'll see how they go this week. And if they get the win this week, then maybe a few believers might turn for Melbourne.
And the Hawthorn-Geelong game, it's interesting. Geelong have found a way to win in the last couple of weeks. Some positive variance there from the umpires. And then they've got Jeremy Cameron and Dangerfield to come back shortly. But, I just would have loved a better side to tackle Geelong this week than the D's.
Yeah, it's winnable game for both. They're still going to be missing Dangerfield, but they might get 1 or 2 back. It's a big game. I think Melbourne are going pretty confident that they can beat Geelong with their leg speed and stuff like that if they can just control the ball and not turn it over. I think they're an equal chance to beat Geelong, so it'll be an interesting game to watch.
If you like what you hear with Mark's AFL Stings,
check out MG's tips and analysis for round 4 men's matches in the Little Birdie shop. Get round 4, 5 and 6 for $44 or the whole season for $380. Located on www.littlebirdie.pod.com.
He is on fire, our man Mark Goodwill. He's 4 units up for the season and he's turned the corner, that's for sure. Now it's AFL round 4 this week and we're going to go through the blockbuster clashes. We're going to get the odds for the first match. We've got Sydney Swans on Thursday night football against Essendon at the MCG. Darcy, market please.
Yeah, so Sydney Swans $1.20 versus Essendon $4.70, line 28.5.
The first thoughts here, Mark, is the line is very, very big here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nico. I couldn't get it much beyond the 18 to 20 mark. Early market's already gone from 27.5 to 28.5 here, so maybe everybody's just jumping aboard Sydney. Expect Franklin to play, so maybe the market's going to go one way for the moment. So I'd expect, if you like Essendon at this stage, that I would wait until as late as possible to put your bets on for Essendon. You may get plus 30 at this stage, the way the market's tracking, which small ground, bit of weather around at night.
It's greasy.
I think it's a big start for a side that may have a dip in form.
Yeah, there's 4 to 10 mil today, being Wednesday for Sydney, and I think it's going to be about 1 to 3 mil on game day tomorrow. So make sure weather watch on Sydney. That could be a good angle there to get on the plus, that's for sure. Okay, looking at the next match, we've got Port Adelaide versus Richmond.
Yeah.
Odds please, Darcy.
Port Adelaide $1.65 versus Richmond $2.30, and the line is 7.5.
That's Friday night, 8 o'clock at Adelaide Oval. MG, thoughts here?
Yeah, great game. Good scheduling by the AFL too. Friday night marquee to have two good sides. I like the way the AFL's actually set the schedule up this year so far. I think a lot of the games that we've been betting and we've found have definitely been the Thursday, Friday, Saturday games. Been hiding the Sunday contests a bit. So really looking forward to this one. This is the start of the year, 2 top 4 sides, both coming off losses. They'll both want to respond. Richmond actually owns the latest head-to-head. They've won 3 out of the last 4 against Port, and they're very good away side. So just the way the market's tracking, open 6, currently plus 7.5. I'd be leaning to the plus again here. I think Richmond at plus 7.5 off a rebound. Did witness Jack Rewalt last night on his show 360. And every time Richmond lose, they love to respond. So I know Porter in the same vote, but I'll lean towards a plus here on Richmond.
Okay, Darcy, you might have to step into your Tigers, and I think I might too. I think Port Adelaide off the back of a trip to West Coast Eagles it would be a nice time for the Tigers to get them. And yeah, you'd hate as soon as a side like Geelong or Richmond or Brisbane Lions get beaten. They're definitely sides that can bounce back quickly. Now, Ballarat is in for a treat on Saturday afternoon, and we sort of talk about how good it'd be to get to this game if it was at Marvel Stadium, but I'm not sure how many they can fit under COVID restrictions at Mars Stadium out at Ballarat. But 1:45 p.m, we've got the Western Bulldogs taking on the Brisbane Lions. I'm not sure if they've been home or not, but Darcy, mark it please.
Yep, Western Bulldogs $1.50 versus Brisbane $2.65. Minus 11.5
for the Western Bulldogs. Interesting line there. I can't really find an angle in this game. I think the market looks about right, Mark.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a great contest again. This is an unfortunate fixture that they obviously have to go to Mars here, and I think this is maybe a small error by the AFL that they don't have the ability to maybe transfer it and find a later game for the Bulldogs to play maybe a lesser side at Ballarat sometime during the year. I just think, being at the game Collingwood-Brisbane on Thursday night, I just think it would have had a similar atmosphere. The week before, West Coast and Bulldogs played a cracking game as well, so maybe they should have moved this game, and in hindsight, I just wonder whether the AFL, even thought about it, or just for the better of the game. 40,000 at least they would have got, I think, in there. And for the contest, from the betting point of view, it's open 10.5, which we thought was maybe a little big. It's already gone to 11, so the bookies seem to be shading the favourites early in the week. Maybe just because they ran a bit true last week and a few of the lines did move their way. Again, if I was going to back Brisbane at the plus, which would be my only bet if I was betting, I'd wait as the week went on. I think there's a real good chance to back Brisbane, the 1-39, around the $3 if I was playing in this game.
And the other good match that we're going to preview is the Sunday game, or the money match. It's Gold Coast Suns versus Carlton at Metricon, 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and the money is running hard for the Blues. Obviously, a big loss in the ruck stocks for Gold Coast Suns at the moment.
Your game of the week? You circled this one early when I said, where and when, what are we going to watch this week? And you've come back with me and you said Carlton. Carlton's my team this week. Really can't believe that Carlton opened outsiders in this game, plus 3.5. Even the week before, we tried to get on and didn't get on for much at the plus 6.5. We just saw that they had this game incorrect moving forward. They've corrected themselves quite quickly. I'm not sure if we had any influence in that, Nick, we'd like to see we had maybe a point or two, but they jumped pretty quick, the bookies. I've seen a few now got them favourites at 1 and 2 points. I'm not sure it'll move too much more, although the Giants now, the Suns are really getting tested in their big man stocks, but they don't have a lot of depth in their side. So this is a winnable game for Carlton. I know they let us down 2 weeks ago against Collingwood when really tipped them hard. I don't think if Carlton want to play finals, they can afford to drop this game. So I'm real keen on Carlton. Plus 3.5 was a gift for mine. I think it'll move another 1 or 2 points. -5's around the starting point for the Blues, and I'll be disappointed if they don't win this game.
Lots of friends in my chat groups want to be with Carlton this week, and I can see everyone just coming up with Carlton, so I think this could keep running, definitely. Speaking of finals, we're going to have a look at buy, sell, and hold, our new segment. We probably created this while Darcy was on the beach in Byron, but we're going to have a quick look at the futures markets. We're going to start with the Premiership market. Odds are on the screen thanks to topsport.com.au. Darcy's Tigers open up favourite there.
Yes. So Richmond Tigers, $4.80. Geelong Cats, $6. Port Adelaide Power, $6. West Coast Eagles, $7.50. Western Bulldogs, $8.50. Brisbane Lions, $10. Sydney Swans, $11. And Melbourne Demons, $15.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised with the Western Bulldogs price. It just keeps holding up. They've got the soft draw, as you mentioned on last week's show. $8.50 still looks like a backable price. When I sort of woke up yesterday and we were sort of talking about the show, I thought, Brisbane Lions will be at like $5.50 or $6. The bookies will have their foot on them. They're very exposed now. They've got lots of options up forward. But here they are still, I'd say they're hanging out there at $8.50, and it's enticing me to want to bet them.
Yeah, I'm buying again. I just think the way, we tried to instruct the punters last week. I think the way you play future markets is you've got to have an eye on the end of the season, but I think you've got to play it in some kind of chunks throughout the year, and I like to do it 4 weeks at a time. Just look at the draw, whether the price is going to go up and down. If you're playing it like a share market option, I think there's 2 standouts at the moment. I just think the Bulldogs are up and about, plus they've got an easy draw, and turning around 6 and 7 at the moment, they should be on top of the ladder for mine. $8.50, no reason why if you're playing in Premiership markets this week, they're one to back. West Coast are another one. They've got a pretty good draw, I think, the way they're going. They won't lose too many at home. We saw that against Port on the weekend. It was a big turning game for them. I know they lose Shuey again, and they need Yo back in the side, but geez, West Coast's best side on paper. They'll be whips are cracking when the end of the year. I think they'll be one of the major players. So if you like West Coast, no need to jump off Richmond. I wouldn't get too excited. History shows they often lose a game in the first month of the year. So don't panic, Darcy. I know you're holding a good ticket on Richmond for the Premiership. You're following us in. So I think I saw maybe $4.85. So if you like Richmond, I'd be holding your ticket. Or if you want to invest, maybe it's a good time off the back of a loss. Holding Brisbane also. I don't think you need to go anywhere on Brisbane. Myself this week, I'm just going to stick with the same sides, I think. Can't really sell these guys getting out anymore, St Kilda. I just think they're gone. But $31, I'm not sure too many punters are putting up their hands to buy St Kilda at $31. But I think the one you want to be selling on is Sydney at the moment. They're a bit like your mate Tex Walker and the Coleman medal.
Into $11 is bottom, rock bottom.
Yeah. Well, I think the bookies may be taking the plan well. If they beat Essendon well this week, all of a sudden they're 4-0. And they might get into single figures next year. But looking where they've come from last year, they're very short at this stage. So I wouldn't be jumping into Sydney at all.
And I can't at the moment. I couldn't touch Geelong at $6. I know they've got the big players back, but their game style and even injecting those players, I think they're going to be really found out in the finals. I'll be looking to oppose Geelong against any good side in a head-to-head match. But yeah, I definitely couldn't back the Cats for the flag at this stage. I thought they were just going to gel and click, and they have those big players out. But there's nothing about the way Geelong plays at the moment. And to go into their shell against a really junior club like Hawthorn was a really big white flag and a sign of weakness for me. And I can't have them at all. And I think Port Adelaide, I think you nailed that as well. $6 Port Adelaide at the moment is poisoned at the way they are playing. Now let's look at the Brownlow medal odds thanks to Top Sport. Das?
The Brownlow market, we've got Dustin Martin at $4.50, Tom Mitchell $8.50, Marcus Bonampelli $9.50, Travis Boak, $11. Christian Prochaka, $12. Lockie Neal, $15. And Patrick Cripps at $15.
Interesting market here. I think Dusty's well found at $4.50, and Tom Mitchell just looks sickly short at $8.50. He doesn't look like he's going anywhere near his Brownlow form of a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm selling Mitchell. I wouldn't be jumping into Mitchell. I think they've just mispriced him at the moment. He's in a side that's probably not going to win too many more games. The bottom six side, Hawthorn generally, they're in a rebuild. I just can't see Mitchell. Mitchell won't be winning the Brownlow this year, I don't think. At $8.50, I can't believe he's second favourite. Not much happened in the Brownlow this week in terms of votes. They could probably win. One I will be tipping out wide is maybe Max Gawn. Now, I know a lot of people do the Brownlow and stuff, never fall into ruckman. They don't have a good record and stuff like that. The thing with Max and Melbourne is why they're winning. There's only pretty much 3 players that pile votes on a consistent basis. Max Gawn's one of them, and he's got limited opposition to ruck now. He may not win it, but $29 each way, he might give you some kind of sight. And I just think the market's pretty cramped at the top. So he might be one just out wide that you can keep an eye on the next couple of weeks.
Now, he's probably the most talked about player on the show, the big Tex Walker. We're going to talk Coleman Medal betting odds. I can't believe I'm saying this. Darce, odds courtesy of Top Spot for the Coleman Medal.
Yep, so Tex Walker, $4. Josh J. Kennedy, $6.50. Tom Hawkins, $7. Harry McKay, $8. Tom Lynch, $8. Charlie Dixon, $9. Jack Darling, $11. Joe Danher, $13. And Josh Bruce at $13.
Josh J. Kennedy is starting to flex his muscles there, and I think he'd be the way I'm playing there. I think Taylor Walker is definitely a sell. He's rock bottom odds there. I'd like to lay him as a bookmaker. If I was Tristan, I'd just over the shoulders. I'd do a little bit of a special, little birdie special, lay Tex, and I'd just make a book around him. Thoughts, Marco?
I don't know why you don't like Tex. I thought you were all
I love him.
Oh, jeez. We're going to have to go down with a ship on this one, aren't we, Scoot? We got into Tex a little early, and then he's put 5, 6 and 5 on us. So can't believe I'm going to get hung for the year on doing money on a Coleman Medal market I don't even bet in. But he's on fire, the Tex.
And he's got Kangas.
He's got Kangas as well. So, listen, I'm going to go down the shit with him and keep selling him. He's $4 favourite. I think the bookies have got this wrong, but God knows if he puts 8 or 12 on the Kangas this
Could
week,
be lights out.
He might be 6 to 4 next week. So, listen, all the big forwards are starting to grind their gears. The Coleman might be an actual cracking event this year. You know, if the game style stays the way it is, there's no guarantee it will. But if it does, we might have a few big bags and might be chopping all year. You know, we saw Bruce kick 10, Mackay 7. Maybe Tex does put double figures on the Kangaroos this week.
If the Western Bulldogs have got North Melbourne twice, there's a big chance that Josh Bruce could get a third of the goals that he needs from one club alone. Now, we can't get them all right, and we're definitely getting Tex Walker wrong at the moment, but someone who is getting them almost perfectly right is Mark. He tipped 5 from 6 last week, and he's absolutely on fire. Make sure you check out his AFL Stings. You get the 2 women's preliminary finals this week, and then they head to the big dance. Someone made a really good point with Good Friday. That's probably a great day to have the women's footy be the curtain raiser for another Good Friday match and make the final there. So maybe the AFL will look at that suggestion. I thought it was pretty spot on. It'd be great to showcase their grand final, even though I think it's unwatchable. Now, puntingform.com.au has all the best raw data, the biggest syndicates in the world. Use Punting Form's raw data. They can create a model for you, custom made, or you can just use their database like most other punters do. Make sure you contact puntingform.com.au and check them out. We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back with the Hall of Fame, one of our favourite segments, and one of our favourite characters is Top Rope Tedeschi. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast. I'm your host, Scoot. I've got the Kid MG and I've got Darcy Spinks here. And if I could play Tina Turner Simply the Best, I would, because we've got Top Rope Tedeschi and it's Hall of Fame time. And I love talking to this bloke about rugby league.
Mate, it's one and the same this week. It is one and the same, the Hall of Fame. It can only be one nomination now. If you're on the West Tigers Plus, you're probably not going to agree with this one, but hard to go past Moses and Mike kicking sideways 5 metres out from his own line. when we're down by 8 and they cannot win the game is well and truly over, to then come out and kick it sideways. Blake Ferguson catches the ball, scores untouched in the corner. Those on the minus 10.5, salute. Cannot believe it. Kicks it from the sideline. Those on the 13 plus, salute. Wow, Moses and Bai. True gambling heroics.
It had to be seen to believe in the last 8 seconds. You did not. This is probably the biggest backdoor cover of all time and the final dagger into Top Sport's hearts and every bookie. It was unimaginable that they'd cover the 10.5. Make sure you get on KO Minis and watch the last final minutes of this match, West Tigers versus Parramatta. The line 10.5 and 13 plus gets covered in an unthinkable set of circumstances. Moses chips it across, and there's my man, bent nose Blake Ferguson. He just gallops in, and he just couldn't believe it. He celebrated for about 30 seconds, and he was so excited and probably just shocked that he'd entered the 2-try zone. But I tell you what, it was a fascinating week for the Hall of Fame with a couple of worthy contenders. We've had Ryan Pappenhausen. He scored 4 tries in about 11 minutes and was starting to really test the rugby league annals and all those big stats keepers. I thought he was going to score about 6 or 7 tries. What do you think, Top Road?
I thought we were going to see some records busted, so I was a little disappointed that he was so selfless. But the Broncos really tried to shut him down in the second half. But 4 tries in 11 minutes, that's more tries than the Bulldogs have scored all season. So well done, Ryan Pappenhausen.
And Zach Bailey after the sirens, another notable omission. But Moses and Bai is a good addition. He joins Mattress Matt, the mattress furniture shop owner that bets on futures markets to offset his promotions there. Cam Munster's in there for his contract signing at the Ballet. Fletch, the Hall of Fame famer for his Asian set, and Jamie Carr's in there. It's an illustrious Hall of Fame. If you do something good on the punt, we put you in there. But the backdoor cover is one of the sickest all time, so I think that is an absolutely sensational addition. Top rope Tedeschi. And let's kick straight across to the NRL Round 5. A little hat tip. You declared all of the minuses, or all of the big teams at the minus last week, and it was an absolute fill-up for you. It must have been easy watching Top Rope last week.
Yeah, it was absolutely delightful. It wasn't easy when your side's on the back end of one of those losses, but look, these big minuses have been last. They're now 10-1 against the spread, when a top 6 team against the bottom 16 plays each other. Double-digit spreads this year, 7-0 against the spread to the minus. So, I think we're onto something pretty early. I don't think the market has fully adjusted yet. It was a real easy watch last week. Just a little shout out for those subscribed to the guide. Absolute fill up, 70+% on turnover last week. So a nice little week to get the feet moving.
Yeah, and just a little one. This might trigger you, but the State of the Gamers are out to get PVL. They think that he is responsible for these big blowouts. I'm in your corner here, and it's the first time I'm in the corner of PVL for quite a long time, but surely PVL's influence in the game is not responsible for these cellar dwellers at the moment. He'd have to be in the game for 4 or 5 years, or bring in this expansion team. We've covered it early in the show. The AFL pulled the wrong move when they didn't push North Melbourne to the Gold Coast Suns, but I think a big bad move would be if there was another team in Brisbane instead of a merger. What do you think, Top Rope?
Look, I will jump to first the PVL defence. There's no doubt the new rules lend themselves to bigger blowouts when a good team plays a bad team. But I don't think there's a problem, because you know what? It makes for a better game when good teams play good teams. What PVL is doing is lifting the standard of the game as a whole. It shouldn't be kowtowing down to the lowest common denominator like so many organisations do. So, well done to PVL. Absolutely not the reason that the sellers. As someone who's been intimately involved with Canterbury for many years, I can tell you, they're awful by their own doing. And they continue to get themselves into more awful trouble when they don't have to, by hiring a foolish coach, by signing players that shouldn't be signed for long-term deals just as we were getting out of cap trouble. Somehow we're managing ourselves into more cap trouble. It's actually astonishing. So, look, it's a fairly similar thing with the three other clubs that are struggling. This has the cause the Bulldogs all this drama. Now he's doing the same to Manly. So I think it's a few organisational issues, a lot more than it is the rules of the game. In regards to expansion, I know that it hasn't worked so much going for. I am actually an advocate for a 17 team to come into the competition. Second team in Brisbane, absolutely needed, but I don't think a relocation would work. I think we need a team to get into Brisbane. I think Wayne Bennett will coach them, and I think they will kind of get off on the right foot with their new standalone team. And that team will probably be the Redcliffe Dolphins from the Queensland Cup. A little bit like Port Adelaide when they came in. They've got a very rich base. They've got a lot of supporters already. They've got a thriving leagues club. They will come in and they'll be one of the most profitable teams off the bat. So I think that's probably the way to go for expansion.
As an AFL person, to watch sides like Gold Coast Suns and GWS battle their way for the last dozen years, I think that absolutely stinks. But time will tell, that's for sure.
I don't disagree to this, Spirit. In terms of, I think just kind of plucking a team out of nowhere and manufacturing something would be a bad move. I think pulling something, I think the better equivalent is Port Adelaide kind of making that jump from the SANFL up to the league and then kind of having that base of support there to start with. I think that's a much better example of how this will play out. If they were saying, hey, we're just going to create a side out of Brisbane, it's not going to have the backing of a local side in there, I would be with you completely on that one.
I can see your angle there and take that on board, that's for sure. Let's look at Thursday night football. South Sydney, my team, the Rabbitohs, versus the Brisbane Broncos at Stadium Australia. Darcy, odds courtesy of topsport.com.au.
Yep, so South's $1.07 versus Broncos at $9. The line is minus 21.5.
Wow, Wayne Bennett gets to beat up on his old Broncos top rope.
You like having fun, Spirit? You like having fun? Because you're going to have plenty of fun Thursday night. This is going to be a minus. This is going to be your boys. This is going to be Wayne getting revenge. This is going to be Wayne getting in the head of Kevin Walters after he leaked a story this week that Wayne Bennett was moving back to Brisbane, and obviously it was a job advertisement to get involved with the Broncos again, or so he wanted to make it seem. I think this could be an overs game. It's going to be an absolute fill. I think South will win this by 50. So I will be well and truly steaming for the minus here, and plenty of extended ones as well.
50-point play. The man who made a meal or made a feast of the minuses last week is just ploughing into my bunnies. That is sensational to hear. And no Cody Walker, but Benji Marshall. He's well worthwhile replacement there, isn't he?
He's not a bad replacement. Most teams have to pull in a youngster unsuited first grade. Benji's played 3 in the first grade, and he's absolutely loving life at the Rabbits right now. I think he's playing pretty good footy. Look, Cody Walker was one of the best in the comp. Big loss, but this is the Broncos. They can't tackle. Benji's going to have a feast.
Who wouldn't be loving life at the South Sydney Rabbits? You've got Hemsworth trotting around. You've got Natalie in the stand. There's so much Hollywood.
I'll give you one name, Adam Reynolds. He's not really loving life at South right now.
Yeah, that's
they won't give him a new contract.
Only offering a year. Reynolds Rendiggity, he wants 3 years. That'd be sad. It's like ripping the fabric out of the bunnies, wouldn't it?
Ripping the absolute heart out of the poor old South Sydney bunnies. But to be fair to South, they're cast with their cap. They're all in for the comp this year and next. They can't really be offering him a 3-year deal. If he's smart, if the club's smart, if he's smart, he will go and get himself a good 3-year deal at a battling club and help kind of regenerate those teams.
Be a sad loss, that's for sure. Let's look at Friday night football. A very disappointing team last week was New Zealand Warriors. They take on Manly, who are in all sorts with injury problems. But odds, please, Darcy.
Yep, New Zealand Warriors $1.40 versus Manly at $3.
Angle here, please, top rope.
Got to be with the Warriors here, mate. Manly are conceding 39 points a game this year. They've lost Morgan Boyle to injury. Tommy Turbo's still not back. Warriors go well at Gosford, covered 9 of 11. Little angle here, though, for them. Warriors, excellent as a bounce-back team. They have covered 13 of their last 18 of a loss of 13 plus. So very keen to get involved with the Warriors this week.
Very, very disappointing last week, but they did come up against a quality side in the Roosters, that's for sure. Now, Penrith-Canberra at Penrith Stadium on Friday night, about 8 o'clock kickoff there. Odds, please, Dars.
Penrith $1.40, Canberra $2.95, and the line is 7.5.
A little bit of a specking for Penrith, 190 and 185 there, top rope.
matches around, no doubt. I reckon two genuine premiership contenders here. Hard game to get a real push on. I'm definitely leaning a little towards the Raiders here. Penrith are great at home. They're covering nearly 2/3 of the game at home over the last 4 years. The Raiders, 20-9 against the spread as an underdog on the road. They bounce back well. Sorry, they hold form well off a big win. They are really good just generally on the road. I will have a small bet on the Raiders plus and head-to-head. Really keen on the under here, though. These teams are both two defensive-based teams at the moment. The Panthers have conceded 16 points all year. I think the under is probably one of the better totals of the week.
Mm. And looking at Sunday, the get-out stakes, we've got Parramatta versus St George at Bankwest Stadium. Last match of the round at 6 o'clock Sunday night. Odds, please.
Parramatta $1.28 and St George Dragons at $3.70, and the line is 9.5.
The St George Dragons here, top row, they're surprising a couple. They're not as bad as everyone thought.
No, they're absolutely not as bad as everyone thought. They gave the Knights a fair old touch-up on the weekend. Look, they covered that as an 8.5 point outside. They won off the stick there. They've now covered 15 of 22 as an underdog of more than the converted try. They get Jack Bird back this week. Para covered, as we discussed in Hall of Fame. They weren't that impressive against the Tigers. They were a little bit sloppy. I'm happy to take the Saints here. I reckon the Dragons can cover the nice number here.
Yeah, if you think that's an odd comment, yes, a 14-point win can look very, very average, and the backdoor cover, as we said, needs to be seen to be believed. But I couldn't agree more. They were pretty lacklustre in the last half there, Parramatta Eels, but their form all season is pretty rock solid, so I can see why the line is where it is from the bookies. Now, it's time for our Lock of the Week, and we might have to change the name of this segment because we are making the Lock of the Week look like very, 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 very hard at work, and it's top rope versus the kid, but I'm going to sound the siren and put in a protest. I think Scooty should be back into the Lock of the Week, or I'm just going to anoint myself into the Lock of the Week. You guys are going that average that I think I deserve a little spot in the team. Mark?
Yeah, Top Rope and I voted against it. So it was two against one, yet you're in. So you must have three votes against mine and Top Rope's one each. But anyway, I also see Top Rope that on the run sheet, Nico's put himself down for last week's winner as well. So he's not only joining the comp, but he's actually joining the comp with a plus to his bank. So
yeah, well done. I've got the two losses to start off with. Yeah. And he wants to take the winner. Is that how it's going to play?
He's red hot. He's had a big week, Nico, so he's just putting himself in everything at the moment.
Now,
he's one of the great routers of all time.
To square up there, I was actually betting bottles of Grey Goose, so I think we're all square there. We've got the square up. But what we're talking absolutely gibberish at the moment. It's Lock of the Week, and then what we're trying to do here is raise money for raise.org.au, and they are a charity that provides mentors for teens and youths and helps to get fast interventions to get kids back on track. It's raise.org.au. They do fantastic work. They've provided thousands of mentors for lots of kids and turned them around. I think it's a really important thing for young kids to get back on the right sort of track, and mentors are just so important. As we see on this show, you need guys like Mark and Nick holding your hands to make smart decisions. But let's talk about how we're going to get to this $5,000 bank. As Mark's alluded to, I tipped the Lions as my Lock of the Week. I'll open the batting here. I'm running this show. I had Lions as my Lock of the Week against Collingwood, so now I've got a $380 balance in my bank balance, and I'm going to multi West Coast Eagles to beat St Kilda into Souths over the Broncos, and the Storm are going to win again. So it's $1.50 there at Top Sport, the three-leg treble. I think this is a treacherous weekend in sports betting, so I'm going to cat it a little bit, just a little bit defensive here. But Top Rope, have you got your Lock of the Week?
Yeah, I'm going to go a 13-plus double here. South into Melbourne, both win 13-plus. You get about $1.60 for that. That's free.
$1.60. So Top Sport has got $1.60 there, and Top Rope's got $254 as he got the treble. The shorties up last week, and MG, you finally hit the wall last week with the Richmond Tigers. You got your medicine because you'd already tipped the Tigers early in the year, and you've gone to the safe play again, and whooshka, the Swannies got you.
Yeah, I followed Darcy. She tipped Richmond as a certainty to me last week over the text. Obviously, he'd had too many cocktails in Byron. I shouldn't have listened. Caught my right whack. So I was heeded advice from Top Rope this week and just try to put a little double together to get back on the board and get rolling because I don't want to cop an email from race.org.au anytime soon to lift my game. So I'm also going to go West Coast head-to-head into Adelaide. I think it's about $1.79 for my $200 investment and hoping to get back on the positive side.
We're looking to get to that $5,000 mark so we can donate some money to charityraise.org.au. Make sure you check out what they do. And it sort of just reminds me, this little shorty segment, a really funny tweet. A guy, Tabloid Kieran, tweeted a little while ago a little bit of a thread about the time that he backed Winks at $1.20. He was at the races in Sydney at Rose Hill and he just wanted to get his confidence back and up and about for the punt. And sometimes you just need a little confidence builder, and that's what I did actually. A little confession this morning. I thought the round was so hard that I actually took the $1.50 multi at TopSport and I had 800 on it. I don't think I'm going to bet too much this week in the game, but I just need a little confidence booster, so I'm just going to have 800 on the $1.50, that treble out wide. So I'm chips in there. Top rope.
I'll tell you what, that bet count sounds far too low for my liking. Far too low for my liking.
He dropped a zero.
What are you betting? You may as well be betting futures that far in advance, Ski.
He hasn't received his prize money check from his horse winning on the weekend yet, Top Rope, so he can invest.
Who needs more confidence? You're winning a big jump at the Oak Bank, and all of a sudden you need your confidence. I thought you were the most confident man in Australia.
Been under fire in the last 24 hours, but we'll rectify that situation tomorrow on Bet Doctor, the racing show tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that one. I'm thinking it's going to be a fiery episode. Top Rope Tedeschi been fantastic. He did not miss in the Hall of Fame. The backdoor cover, West Tigers versus Parramatta, unbelievable scenes. And you didn't even. I'm a bit disappointed. Pappenhausen, he's the new goat. They've lost a couple of goats, and now in struts Pappenhausen. He's just an excitement machine. We played him from the top of the show. The highlights reel. Mark loves him. You had to Google his name to spell it right, but you love the Pap. I'd nearly buy a membership just to go watch Pat play.
I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame. What does he have to do, Top Rope? 4 tries in 11 minutes is not good enough to get in.
I'll tell you what, they need to stop playing on a Thursday or Friday because that's about 4,000 bets before we get a backdoor cover on a Sunday afternoon.
That was unbelievable to cover.
If you haven't seen the replay or the footage of Ryan Pappenhausen, make sure you check it out. He is an absolute jet, and I can't wait. I was just mystified when he in the flesh to watch him. He's like a little electric eel. He is an absolute excitement machine. Make sure you check out Ryan Pappenhausen in the flesh. If you live in Melbourne or live in Sydney, just get to the game, watch him. He is unbelievable. I've seen nothing like it in rugby league, and wow, he can play the fullback position and can teach a lot of people a lot about rugby league because I know nothing. Top Rope Tedeschi, thank you very much. You've been outstanding on the show, and can't wait to see you next week.
Pleasure. Cannot wait.
Outstanding episode of Little Birdie Podcast this week. We've got winners galore in the AFL and NRL. If you want to check out these guys' sets, make sure you head to the Little Birdie shop and get the AFL Stings for Mark's thoughts and the GGOA greatest game of all for Nick Tedeschi, Top Rope Tedeschi's Rugby League mail. Great show. Great to have you back, Darcy. I tell you what, you just add another level to this show. Can't wait to...
I'm learning. I'm getting there.
Can't wait to see your little antics across social media. I'm sure you got a couple of product launches this week. You got any restaurants booked?
Yes, a few restaurants booked. We've got an event on Sunday, actually at Pink the Restaurant.
Pink the Restaurant.
Anyone's heard of that. Everything is pink. It's really cool.
Missed the invite again.
Yeah. What do we have to do to
I
get
don't know
a
whether
gig?
you guys will fit in there.
She said check the junk mail. Is that true?
Oh, geez. We are struggling. Big thanks to puntingform.com.au and topsport.com.au. These are the guys that support professional punters with tools and the ability to get on. So make sure you get around them. They support our show. They do great work for the game. And make sure you gamble responsibly. And like us, rate us on the Apple Podcast, the Spotify, and YouTube channels that we've got. Little Birdie TV, we're absolutely everywhere. We're on SoundCloud, and just get us and digest us and download us however you see fit. But keep supporting Little Birdie. We're trying to help you win.